to the 2024 edition of the Radical World Finals presented by Kinetic 7, live from Yas Marina Circuit in the United Arab Emirates. Of course, we just saw a few highlights from this morning's race, and now it's time for the winner-takes-all final. Thank you to our partners, Kinetic 7, Hankook, HRX, Omologato, and of course, our hosting partner, GulfSport. So far, it's been a clean sweep for Alim Gashev in the Platinum class. Oscar Joyce and Greg Gorski have shared the other steps of the podium. 3 different winners in Pro 1500. Osman McAl, Ian Aguilera and Jack Yang taking the final heat race win, while Jordan Missig has been the only other name to grace the podium. And in Pro 1340, it's been an all-Canadian affair. The order for all 3 heats has been Robert Burgess from Eric Andrews and John Hughes. 30 minutes will now determine who will become champion. 32 drivers, 16 nations, 12 teams. It's time for the 2024 Radical World Finals presented by Kinetic 7. I'm Tom Drewer, and we'll be joined by Sarah Esser. Chris Milbourne is also with us. He should be down on the grid shortly. As you can see, the cars are rolling out of pit lane and making their way to the grid. Of course, the famed circuit here hosts the Formula One Grand Prix, and that will be in just a few weeks' time. But right now, all eyes are on the Radical World Finals. Just over 5 kilometers in length, 16 turns, and a fantastic circuit. All the drivers from all around the world saying that they have been thoroughly impressed, not only with the circuit, but everything else that the United Arab Emirates has had to offer this week. It's been a long one, plenty of track time for drivers, both local and from afar, to come to grips with the cars and with the circuit. Qualifying was strong, although a couple of red flags involved in that one. 3 heat races, the final this morning involving a mandatory pit stop, and that slightly longer race distance was certainly something that changed the complexion of a race for a few drivers. But now it's a 30-minute sprint to determine the world champions in radical competition in 3 classes. Platinum featuring the SR10 machine, the Pro 1500, just like we're seeing on screen there, an SR3 platform with a 1500cc engine, and Pro 1340, again the SR3 with a 1340cc engine. Those power units, motorcycle derived, completely rebuilt in Peterborough, England by Radical. And for that matter, the SR10 featuring a Ford EcoBoost derived engine, again completely rebuilt. Impressive machines, high downforce, as you can see, big rear wings, big rear diffusers, a big front splitter as well, plenty of downforce, plenty of power from relatively diminutive equipment. The teams and drivers getting prepared on the grid. And we will take you through that grid in just a moment. As that man there, Alim Gashev, what a star he has been in the in that platinum class, and I believe he's donned a special tribute helmet for this final event. We can see there some gold on top of his lid. But again, we will go down to the grid for a chat with some of the drivers and Chris Milbourne in just a moment. As you can see, more drivers making their way to the grid, and a few friends and family and fans as well. Looks to me like we're back on board one of the Valor cars, and we'll try and pick up who that is for the final. Of Of course, Valor from England have been doing a tremendous job this weekend. A number of drivers up the pointy end of the field. And very impressive. So now it's time to go down to the grid. And Chris Milbourne, I believe you're down there.
It's an exciting here, the grand finale of the Radical World Finals. Martin, you know a lot of this field here. You've been a very busy man. We tried to talk to you about this. This is the biggest grid of radicals we've ever had here. How do you feel about seeing this?
Yeah, I would say relief. It's probably the first thing. Finally, it's been a really busy couple of weeks and months, but to see the cars and the teams, everyone here made a massive effort. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I know we were speaking about it a couple of months ago when we wrapped up the Gulf Radical Cup for 23 and 24. You were very excited about it, and now it's actually happened. We're here at Heat Race 4, and what's really a surprise to me is our talented drivers from the UAE are showing the world just how good they are.
That's what we were hoping. We were saying to the guys before the event, we want one of our guys, not even from our team or wherever it is, someone from the Gulf Radical Cup up there kind of showing the way around, and Alim is doing that brilliantly with Osman just there in the SR3 class and Ian obviously. So yeah, it's a challenge for everyone, but we wanted these guys to show it, and I think they are. So.
Well, it's a fantastic event, Martin. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got stuff to do here, but why don't we stay down on the grid here and see what else we can see around here, because what we have here is what we just said here. Alim Gashev is on pole position there in the 77 in the SR10, but then to his right is his 1500 counterpart, which is a Pro 1500, and of course, one of our series regulars in the Gulf Radical Cup. Now, what we haven't done here is we haven't spoken really much to Alim Gashev very often, and I can see he's getting a nice blast of cool air in front of him in his face, just to keep him cool. Alim, you've already got 3 race victories. Is this going to be number 4? And more importantly, what has your son said about race number 4?
No one knows how it was, but of course I'll put everything for this race in particular. And the grid is amazing, and people are here is strong, competitors are strong. A lot of drama this weekend, and hope for everybody who racing here. The race will be safe, and everybody will bring their car to a finish.
Well, of course, you're one of the stars of the Gulf Radical Cup, and you're now the star of the Radical World Finals. 3 races from 3 so far, a 4th one in your grasps. How much confidence have you got now going into a couple of weeks when we go back to Radical Racing here, right here in the UAE?
For sure, I will miss this event.
Well, we look forward to that, Alim. Get ready. Let's see you on the podium once again. Will you make it 4 for 4? Let's go on to the other side. Let's grab a word in with pole sitter for Pro 1500. Of course, it's Ian Aguilera, one of our 3 winners in the Pro 1500 category. We've got just enough time to have a quick word with Ian Aguilera. It's been a fantastic race. You and Usman, Christian Brookes, and a number of others, Seb Murray and everything like that. You guys have had some thrilling battles. Are we going to see the same here in Heat Race 4?
Yeah, hopefully we can see some great battles. It's been a tough weekend, a lot of really quick drivers out here, so it'll be good to see what happens. Hopefully we can come out on top, but see how it goes.
I like how you said it was a tough race weekend, but you've always been up there in the sharp end of the field. What's in store here? Because I think this is the furthest up the order you've started the whole weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the front row this time. Hopefully we can get a bit of a gap to turn 1 to my other competitors, and then manage the gap throughout the whole race. That would be the ideal scenario, but let's see how it goes, and we'll just have to manage. Well,
all the best, Ian. We hope to see you back in the Gulf Radical Cup, because Ian is the quickest driver we have in the championship. But I think with this added confidence boost that Alim Gashev has, it's going to be a very interesting race here. Of course, the grid is filled up. 32 of the best radical drivers across the globe have descended here to the Marina circuit for one final race. We've had 3 epic races, 2 25-minute races, a 45-minute enduro featuring a mandatory pit stop, and now the final 30 minutes, the curtain call. But who will it be? Who will be walking away with the biggest award of them all? Who will be crowned the Radical World Final? Well, that's it from the grid. Why don't we throw it back up to Tom Drewer, who's up in the comms box?
Yes, well, speaking of grid, let's take you through that right now. So I've just had word that right at the back of the grid, it may be that Jahid Karim will not take part in this race. Certainly alongside him, Julian Monet will start from row 16. Rick Parish, our sponsor, thank you very much, Rick, in Kinetic 7. He'll start from row 15 alongside Marcel Kopp. Jacopo Facioni will start from 28th on the grid. Alongside him, Lee Jackson. Alexander Novikov will start from row 13 alongside Joel Strider. George Harding will start from 24th on the grid alongside Johnny Khazzoum, who's certainly provided plenty of action this weekend. Banksy will start from position 22 on the grid alongside John Hughes in one of the 1340 machines. From 20th on the grid, it's Amir Faizulan. He'll start from row 10 alongside Ibi Hadid. Rob Greenwood, who's carrying one of our onboard cameras, he'll start from 18th. And in 17th, it's Eric Andrews. Fujinami will start from row 8 alongside Andy Lowe. Sebastian Murray, one to watch for certainly in this race. He'll start from 14th on the grid. And next to Jordan Missig from row 7. And again, watch out for the 48 charging hard in this one. Suelio Almeida, the 333, another one to look out for in Pro 1500. He'll start from row 6 alongside Robert Burgess, who is our pole sitter in Pro 1340. The order a little bit mixed up, if you like, because of the way that the points have set the grid for this World Final. So look out for some action as we start this one. Chris Preen will start from row 5. Said Almouri will be from position 9 next to Chris. And then from row 4 on the grid, Osman McAl will start alongside David Evans. From 6, it's Jack Yang, who took that final win in Pro 1500 this morning, the final heat race win, I should say. Christian Brookes will be 5th on the grid. Greg Gorski will be one to watch, certainly in car 24. He'll start from row 2 alongside Oscar Joyce, and they've been battling hard all weekend long, particularly for 2nd and 3rd in Platinum class. Ian Aguilera has put together a pretty perfect point score in terms of Pro 1500. He starts on the 1500 pole from 2nd on the grid, and our pole man who will lead this field to the green, it's Alim Gashev, someone who has, well, he's had a perfect weekend so far, put it on the pole, 3 race wins. In fact, the only other person that can say that this weekend is Canadian Robert Burgess. So everyone getting away from the grid, it would appear, and starting the formation lap. And good to see everyone away from the grid. The nerves are certainly rising down in pit lane, in the stands, and I've got to say, up in the commentary booth as well, Chris, this is a big one.
It is the final race. It is race number 4. It's all come down to this, Tom. We've had 3 magnificent races, 2 25-minute races, plus a 45-minute enduro earlier today. It was hot this morning. It's still just as hot this morning as it is in the morning this afternoon. It's a little bit cooler there. The heat is definitely emanating within the drivers and the pit garages as well. It's interesting what you said there about Yahya Khadim not starting, or at least at the tail end of the field there in the 32. I was talking to Osman McAl. He's got a new front splitter on his car because he was struggling with balance before. So him and Rick Parish have swapped the front splitters on their cars. So Osman was showing us that earlier before. I do really like the fact that we have a Pro 1500 car on the front row of the grid in Ian Aguilera. Speaking to him, he said it's been a very tough race weekend for him. He's always been at the forefront. He has been the one to vie for the top step of the podium in all 3 races we've had so far. If that's a tough race weekend, I don't want to know what's an extremely hard race weekend for him.
Well, I tell you what, it is going to be interesting because those really the first 4 rows of the grid are a bit mixed. So we've got a platinum class car and a Pro 1500, as you mentioned, on row 1. We've got 2 Platinum class cars on row 2. Then we've got a couple of Pro 1500s on row 3 and 4. I think the big question will be is how does Greg Gorski deal with Ian Aguilera? Maybe not through turn 1. I suspect the 17 will be extremely quick, using all of that beautiful balance of the SR3 machine as we go through turn 1. But at some point, Gorski is going to try and get up with Joyce and Geshev. We'll see if Joyce can stay under the gearbox of the 77 and perhaps, you know, slot himself into second off the start. I'm really looking forward to seeing what row 7 will do. Jordan Missig, Sebastian Murray have both shown extreme pace throughout the weekend, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them leapfrog. We certainly saw a fantastic start a little bit further back. I think that was Sebastian Murray in race 3, and I know that Jordan Missig has been studying some video of the starts just to see what he can glean, what he can learn from what's happened already this weekend. The Graham Rahal Performance team has also found a couple of things wrong with that car, rectified that, so that's good news. Again, we go under this stunning views and the sight of the W Hotel that will play host to our awards banquet this evening. We'll be right up on the top on the wet deck, and I'm looking forward to celebrating what has been a tremendous week of racing here for the Radical World Finals. As you can see, the pace car has come off the circuit to release these drivers. We're now under the control of Alim Gashev. This has been an extremely slow pace that Alim has taken the field around to the green. So Chris, I'll let you do the honors here. 30 minutes.
32 cars. Who will it be at the end? Who will be the one to take the checkered flag? Who will be standing atop the wet deck with the trophy in hand? Well, we have 30 minutes to sort that out. Here we go. Greg Gorski's got a very interesting line there in the middle of the pack, but we are racing here at the Yas Marina circuit for one final time here in the Radical World Finals. This is the finals. Ian Aguilera has already lost positions, and he's trying to keep Christian Brookes behind him. But did you see Osman McAl go all the way around the outside?
Yeah, and it was a really tight battle between Greg Gorski and Oscar Joyce, who have absolute carnage at the back. A huge crash involving numerous cars. The yellow flags are out. Undoubtedly, the safety car will come out as well, because that's absolute disaster.
And that is Johnny Khazzoum by the looks of it.
Yeah, Johnny Khazzoum,
and his weekend has gone from bad to worse.
The 27 of David Evans has also been involved. The 6, that's one of the Canadians, that's Eric Andrews. So the medical car is down on the scene. The SR8 is also involved. So that's the 87.
And there is another car off to the far right. It's a British driver, but who is that? Is that, say, 25 on the side of the car? I can't quite catch it.
A red flag has come out.
And that is a very good call. There's a lot of good race cars out.
So I think that'll mean we'll get a complete restart. Not sure how that will work in terms of the day here at Yas Marina. Obviously, the Radical World Finals, the big event. And the emergency crews just getting out. You can see a couple of drivers already standing here. So here we have it. There's already a fair bit of commotion with a number of drivers running wide. Johnny Khazzoum seems to get in the side of someone else. The curbs are extremely proud of the track surface.
I think that's the one of the dream racing cars, actually. You saw him bouncing around on the rumble strips. That's not where a car is supposed to be, and that really unsettled the car, pushing him and bouncing him off the outside.
So Khazzoum was a later victim of all of that. But
he unfortunately was just a passenger in all of that and got caught up towards the tail end of the field. But that car in the middle should not have been there on those rumble strips. That was a very bad move.
Well, unfortunately, you know, at the start of a race, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide, they were spread out going into turn 1, and
And there is Johnny Khazzoum there on the right-hand side, which is great to see. We see a number of other drivers. The medical crew there talking to the driver of the 27 at the moment. The 27 is Tom. I can't see it on our
That is
screens.
David Evans, unfortunately. He started 7th on the grid, so that's disaster for him. But to get back to those curbs, you know, on the track walk earlier this week, it was very noticeable how proud the jagged edges are. And the trouble is there's a little drainage ditch off the 2 sets of curbs before you get into the runoff proper, and that also has a very big ramp on it. So with these low cars, you know, unlike a GT car, the cars run only 40 millimeters off the ground, and therefore it's very easy for them to bottom out as they hit the curbs. And I think that's what just happened. I mean, I really don't blame any driver in that situation. First lap incidents can and will happen, as we know in motorsport, and unfortunately just a lot of cars surrounding the incident there, which, you know, someone by themselves might have got out of shape and lived to fight another day. Unfortunately, at a race start, that wasn't to be.
And that was not something we wanted to have either here. It's not something we wanted to have. It's not something we wanted to see at the beginning here. Here we're on board with Rob Greenwood in the 47, a little bit further back through the field. But a very unfortunate way to start the World Finals. Of course, everyone's kind of playing for one thing in mind here. They want to be the Radical World Final winner.
We know that, sorry, I was just going to say, we know Jordan Missig got through that. And that was, you know, the Dream Racing you mentioned. So there's 3 or 4 cars out there with an orange livery. So I'm not sure quite who was involved initially. It could have been Missig's car, though we didn't see any tyre marks on the side of that car. So the red flag is out. The safety car is in front of the field. Everyone will start lining back up on the grid. I think it's going to take a little while. Obviously a full reset here, and race control will have to go through the grid order, determine how we're going to restart this race. So bear with us, folks, because there's a little bit of a few things to sort out. And as you can see, just the cars returning to the grid. So the heart rate, no doubt, will be even higher within the cars. The red mist did come through on the start of that one. No surprises, perhaps, in a winner-takes-all final. But good news is all those drivers okay. So there we have Joel Strider in the 99. Stunning livery on that brand new SR3 XXR.
And we saw a different Joel Strider in the third heat race there. We don't usually see him being that aggressive. He did have that spin through this one here.
So, yeah, we can see there that Evans is okay. Again, just an abundance of caution from the medical team there. But David Evans out on the side of the car, and good to see he's got out on his own accord. Number of cars involved. We'd mentioned that it looked like the 87 Saeed Almouri was involved in that one. A couple of drivers being ferried back from the incident in turn 1.
But it was a very interesting start there. We saw Greg Gorski was already out of line at the beginning, and we saw another driver do this in the first race earlier today, this morning, heat race number 3. I'm not sure what the stewards are agreeing with this, because surely Greg Gorski is out of line there. He's getting an advantage. He shouldn't be in the middle of the track. He should be in his position. Maybe it's a strategy so he can find a way past Ian Aguilera, but I do think the stewards need to look at that, because he is out of position.
Yeah, I mean, he's side by side, though, and it's 2 by 2, and I mean, the challenge is, and I'm trying to recall back to the driver's briefing, whether they, you know, fundamentally mentioned anything about how they wanted people to line up. Certainly, whether it was Greg doing it from the get-go or just the general consensus of the field, if you like, coming to the start of the World Finals, a lot of people seem to be a little bit displaced. There was quite a bit of jockeying for position. And I think from Greg's perspective, he was just probably conscious of the fact that he had a Pro 1500 in front and was probably expecting the SR10 power to mean that he would rocket up the side and possibly past Ian Aguilera. Of course, in the end, he was side by side with Oscar Joyce as they came through turn 1. So... yeah, definitely definitely just a lot of commotion at the start of that one. And again, you know, when it comes down to the wire, a big race like this, obviously drivers have spent a lot of time and effort, not to mention money, to get here at the World Finals, to compete at the highest level in radical racing. We've seen 3 very, very clean races, to be honest. And, you know, this is motorsport. It does happen. And a little bit too much action, perhaps, in turn 1 for this final. But the good news is we've got a red flag. So whilst, you know, the day ticks on, the clock in terms of the race doesn't. We'll wait and see what race control offers up in terms of whether it will be a full 30 minutes, whether they will reduce the number of laps or the time that the race will take.
So did you see that everyone's kind of formed in a line except Ian Aguilera? I don't think he could figure out where he should be. Should he have been on the right-hand side or should he be on the left? You could just see him poking out behind the wheel of the safety car there. You can see the Mexican flag on the end of his spoiler there. Yeah, there's going to have to be a lot of resetting because it looks like Ian Aguilera actually went through Sector 1 in the outright lead. So, you know, I think everyone just backing off at different moments. Obviously, it's all a bit of a moot point. So, you know, perhaps we'll get a couple of views of the restart and just leading up and through into the, if you like, the start of that incident, just to see if we can see how that unfolded. But as you can see, Marshall's down on the grid, and here we go, that the shuffle will commence now with all of these cars. And of course, all the officials there and the marshals. I think it would be a good call if we were to do just a full restart and we just have those empty grid positions for there. Because technically we didn't kind of go through Sector 1. It happened before because Sector 1 starts at turn 4.
Yes.
And there were a lot of cars there. Because you see now Ian Aguilera is actually being told to go somewhere where Oscar Joyce is. Oscar is the car on our left-hand side there, the number 95. The 17 was the pole sitter in 1500 and is being moved into the second grid position there. So I think they're going to put them in the same order that they should have started this race.
Yeah, it does. It's a good catch by your eye, Chris, because it does appear that they're doing that. Yeah, the 77's on the pole. Alim Gashev once again. Oscar Joyce is being slotted back into third. So I suspect there's going to be a few gaps in this grid.
And it will be. And look, the start that Osman McAl got as well on that 21 car with that new splitter on the front end, he started in 8th place, and on we saw him go around the outside through turn 1. It was a mega start from the Pakistani driver, and he always does this to the Marina circuit, and he never tells me about it as well. We always talk about how quick Usman is during the Gulf Radical Cup, how fast he is on the opening corners, especially when there's a lot on the line, and he knows exactly what's on the line. That was a mega start, and I wonder if he could do the same thing again. And you could see there, he was in that 3rd position behind Alim Gashev. What a way to start that race, Usman.
Well, and Jack Yang also eclipsed Christian Brookes in that opening corner as well. So Jack Yang got a good start in the 33. I mean, there's so many drivers in Pro 1500 that could genuinely win this thing. And you can see just a couple of team members coming out onto the grid as well. Hopefully we'll get as many bodies out there as possible, because it's going to take a little bit of time just to push everyone around.
And it will take some time here. You can see the shuffling taking place. The drivers, there's Marcel Kopp, the German who made his debut in the Gulf Radical Cup 2 weeks ago. He is with Dream Racing. Spoke to Sean Simpson earlier today. I know that he's taken an advisory role there within the team, and as much as he'd like to be back behind the wheel, I think with the Radical World Finals taking place, I think he'd like to be a part of this action as well. There is Marshall probably talking to Osman McAl, and Osman's probably like, no, I want to stay here. That was my start. That's what I want to stay in 3rd position. I've got a title to win here, don't I? And of course, for our guys here that are racing in the Gulf Radical Cup, we'll be racing again in a couple of weeks' time back at the Dubai Autodrome. For them, this is going to be a massive confidence boost here, because of course they all do race together. They're all here with the World Finals, but are giving them that extra edge over the rest of the competition from drivers from around the world, it's going to put them in a completely different frame of mind, and they'll have that extra boost to them when it comes down to the Gulf Radical Cup. We've only just started the championship, and Ian Aguilera has been the star of it, who is on the left-hand side of our pictures here right now in that 17, and as is Alim Gashev as well on the right-hand side.
So there is going to be quite some time before we go green again. You can see a number of drivers just getting out. Obviously, it's quite hot here this week, and drivers just commiserating, having a bit of a chat about what went on during that melee at the start. You can see quite a bit of gesticulating and gesturing going on back there. But this is all going to have to be reset. And of course, the likes of Alim Gashev, Oscar Joyce, Greg Gorski will be a little frustrated, I suspect, that the race will get restarted. As you mentioned, Ian Aguilera there will also be, because he got a stellar start in the Pro 1500 car.
And it's interesting, you just saw Rick Parish there walking towards the start-finish line there after parking his car in his grid position. Let's have a quick look at how this race started here, and that great start from Greg Gorski and Osman McAl. So those are the replay, or that was the replay of the race start there. And Tom, I've got to be honest, that was a bit of a messy start there. There was a lot of drivers out of position from that angle. Not just Greg Gorski, there was a number of drivers further back through the field. And what was also interesting is you were technically right about something. We actually did get a couple of cars through Sector 1 before the safety car was brought out, because we were riding on board there in the replay with Greenwood, and you saw him go through the Sector 1 timing beacon before the safety car board came out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that means, though, now, to be honest. But we did see, I think we did pick up that sort of drama happened back around about Jordan Missig. And a couple of the cars around him, I think Fujinami was involved in that as well. But look, again, to me, it's just all a bit of a turn one incident. 32 cars barreling down into a fast, corner where you have to grit your teeth and really be committed, cold tyres. So at the end of the day, you kind of expect eventually something like this may happen. Obviously don't want to see it happen, but I think the good news is that we've been able to red flag the race. A great call by the race director. He understands what's on the line for this event and this race. 30 minutes to determine a world champion in 3 classes. And great to see lots of friends and family joining us this weekend. And, it has been just a tremendous atmosphere here all week long at Marina. And for that matter, in the UAE, my first time in this neck of the woods, and I must say I'm just absolutely impressed. Everything, I've been trying to describe what it's like to people, and my sort of answer is it's Las Vegas on steroids in terms of the structures, the beautiful buildings, the infrastructure. Everything is bigger than Ben-Hur. It's a very, very impressive place.
Well, as someone who grew up here, I've been here now for 30 years, it still impresses me every time I drive down here to this incredible circuit, the home of course, Formula One in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit. I can tell you when I was growing up here, where we are right now, even this commentary box, the ground underneath us did not exist. This was nothing. And over the past 20 plus years, the UAE as a whole, whether it be Abu Dhabi and Dubai, Sharjah and the rest of the Emirates, they've done an incredible job to build one of the mega cities. And there is the Alex Nochikov fan club, the number 8 car, who's had a fantastic weekend, at least today, maybe not yesterday.
I'm glad you did mention the fan club, because they did spend some time trying to get our attention. And it's great to see the passion and again, all the family members out here. Lots of people making the journey over from the UK, from the USA, from Canada. Big nights of family-style dinners. And there they go again.
I think Alex Nochikov has one of the biggest fan bases here this weekend. Of course, birthday yesterday. Not everything went the way he would have liked to have gone. But in the race earlier today, he was carving his way through the field, almost made it up into the top 15. I think what he'd like to be here is he'd like to be a little bit further up and possibly on a podium as well. It's interesting to note that he only started in the Gulf Radical Cup 2 weeks ago, where he's been racing with some of our guys who've been doing this for well over half a decade. And his speed and his pace so far, not just in this weekend, but in the Gulf Radical Cup, it has been a fantastic sight to watch Alexander Nochikov race his way through the pack like that. He had engine issues yesterday. The team did a fabulous job to get that car up and running again, and here he is once again with that support, and I really think that is helping him so much.
There's just so many stories throughout this field, and that's what I love about a World Finals event like that. You know, we've just actually, hopefully we can cross down to Sarah. I think she's got a couple of drivers here that we can just get a perspective of that start.
Yes, I'm down here on the grid. Can you tell us from your perspective what happened on that start? It was quite an eventful start on turn 1.
Yeah, it was hard because I had the SR10s behind me, so they blocked me a little bit into turn 1. And then I had Osman on my outside, and I think it was Christian on my inside. So I was like a bit in the middle, but managed to get the positions back. And then there was a bit of contact, which made I had a bit of a moment and lost a few positions. But we got the restart again, and hopefully this time it works out.
Have you had a look at your car to see if there's much damage?
No, car's fine. There's no damage on it, so we're all good.
And how do you feel about the restart? Do you feel okay?
Yeah, I think it was good to have restart, like a start beforehand, and now I know what to expect, so I think I'll react different this time and do different things so yeah.
Thanks so much, Ian.
No worries, thank you.
That was Ian Aguilera, the pole sitter in Pro 1500, and a great start from him, but the one man that he said he had a close eye on was Osman McAl, and that was a mega start from him. Seriously, I saw on the replay he was going right, he was going left, he was finding any opportunity to find a way through. He did make it through, but he's going to have to try again with his fresh set of rubbers. Interesting enough, he did heat race 3, was on used tyres, but let's go back down to Sarah, who is on the grid.
Yes, I'm down here with Greg, and he's going to talk us through what happened at the start from his perspective. You were at the front, so what does it look like in your rear view mirrors?
God, well, there was absolute chaos back there. I saw dust, smoke, fire, blood. It was terrible. No, I was too far ahead. I didn't see anything that happened down there. I'm just hoping that everybody's okay and everyone walked away.
It's looking like the drivers are okay so far. We haven't had full report on all of them, but it looks like they're okay. How do you feel about the restart?
God, the restart's going to be great. We're exactly in the same spot as we were in the start, and it's going to be fast and furious.
Good luck for when we get started again.
All right, thank you very much.
Greg Gorski, always a character from the USA. He spends a lot of time at Spring Mountain Country Club, as many of the US competitors start their motor racing careers at country clubs like Spring Mountain and work their way up into the national Radical Cup North America Series, long-time competitor. We've mentioned he's done a number of events over here, whether that's been in the Creventek Series or in the Golf Radical Cup. But I think Sarah's got another driver for a bit of an interview down on the grid.
Yes, I'm down here with Oscar. Can you talk us through, from your perspective, what happened at that start? It was quite eventful.
Unfortunately, I didn't see what happened behind us, but at the start, I know that Greg almost got me off a jump, but after that, I got back past, going down into turn 5, and then safety car. That's all I saw from my perspective, so I hope whoever's involved is all okay.
Yeah, they are doing all okay. So what are your plan on the restart? I guess there's a few less cars, but they're all kind of behind you.
Yeah, a few less cars behind. I just think try and do the same again, stay in second, and then apply some pressure and see what happens. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah, down there on the pit lane. And we just got news that the formation lap will restart at 4:10 local time here in the UAE. I saw some of the drivers getting their helmets back on. I would love to get a word in with Osman McAl if we can and get him to talk us through what exactly was going through his mind when he got off the line, because he was all over the place trying to track down Ian Aguilera and get past him as soon as he could.
Yeah, absolutely, and we mentioned that Jack Yang had got a great start, getting in front of Christian Brookes into the first turn. But a number of drivers have, and I think we've got another one. Sarah, who have you got there?
I haven't seen much besides that.
Can you just give us a few words of what's going through your mind ahead of the restart?
Yeah, I had a great start actually. I made up around 4 or 5 positions. I'm not
Excuse me, you need to jump in now.
Okay.
He's got to run now to jump back in the car, which means we are getting ready for a restart very, very shortly. So back up to you in the comms.
And that was Marcel Kopch had a quick word. It was great to see him actually there and being taken away very quickly as well.
Diligent crew member, but his first season of Radical. In fact, he only started testing in June, would you believe? He's done a lot of supercar experience. But Marcel Kopp from Germany, really enjoying his first year of Radical competition.
He certainly is, and he got quicker over the race weekend that we had a few weeks ago in the Gulf Radical Cup. Great to see him being a part here of the Radical World Finals. And what a place to really be a part of the biggest spectacle of Radical racing anywhere in the world. He's done 3 races in the Gulf Radical Cup, and he's thought, you know what, I am ready for the World Finals. There is Osman McAl, the number 21 car, with that incredible start there at the line. It would have been great if we got a quick word with him, but of course, we're about to go racing, and we'll let Relentless Racing do their thing. Osman always does this, by the way. Any time we race here at the Asmarina circuit, whether it's the first race of the day, the third race, which is the Enduro, he's always very, very quick when there's something very important at the line. We saw him do this last season, and he ended up picking a penalty from right away, but he is very, very quick. And when you ask him about it, he says, I don't remember doing it. I thought I was perfectly fine. No, you were like a rocket ship working your way through the order.
Well, if my memory serves me correctly, he was second in the championship last year, wasn't he, in the Gulf Radical Cup? So he knows what to do in terms of driving these motor cars and how to perform at his top level, and I think he can just sniff the possibility of a world championship here today. And I think a number of these drivers feel the same way. And that's what's going to be so good once we go back to green racing. You know, the Pro 1500 field is ultra competitive right the way down to really about the top 10 cars. Anyone could win it. Track position is going to be key. We heard from Ian Aguilera that was one of the things that he was looking at. It's going to be important for him to try and keep Greg Gorski at bay, but we'll see what happens. I suspect it'll only be until that first long straightaway out of turn 5. And, you know, where Greg Gorski and for that matter, Oscar Joyce will get past Ian Aguilera if indeed he does maintain second position going through the first few turns.
Sorry there, Tom, to cut you off, but you just saw one of the marshals down there on the grid waving to us. The boys and girls in orange do an amazing job week in and week out, and of course, without them, we would not be able to go racing. So a huge shout out to every single marshal, whether you're on the pit lane, whether you're on the grid right now, whether you're listening to the live stream way off at turn Turn 5. We thank you for being here. We thank you so much for making these events so successful. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do it. A huge shout out to the marshals, the teams, the drivers, the scrutineers, everyone else involved, everyone at the Marina circuit. This has been an incredible World Finals, and the fans are loving it here. It's a great turnout for the Radical World Finals here, and of course, it's going to be one epic event that gets underway in another 3 minutes' time. The restart is coming here for the 32 cars that we have that will take here to the heat race. We'll have a few less cars then at this rate, because I see that David Evans is missing on the right-hand side. So let's go down to the pit lane before we do that with Sarah.
Yes, I'm here with Saeed Almouri. Just a couple of words on what just happened. A very unfortunate start for you.
This is part of racing. The good thing is we are all safe. This just proves how racing in these circumstances, how safe it is. I would have loved to do better position, but for a guy that didn't drive Radical for 10 years, coming here with all this grid and learning from them, it was really nice. We started 9th. I'm happy. I was aiming to finish a bit forward, but unlucky, an incident happened. But as long as we are all safe, I'm happy.
Thank you so much for confirming you're all safe and for having a few words, and hopefully the next time out is slightly better luck. But thank you, and I'm glad you've had an incredible weekend anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, there. Yeah, one of the few drivers hailing from the GCC, or from just down the road, about 4 hours away, if you go a bit to the east, from Saudi Arabia. Great to have him here as well. And his experience is quite interesting. He's used to more racing uphill. He does a lot of the desert racing here around the region, which is quite a popular one here. There is the 48 car, though. That's Jordan Missig. Not the best opening races here for him yesterday. He had those engine issues, didn't he?
No, so big story of the weekend. Within 6 laps of his first test session, he actually topped the charts in Pro 1500. The Graham Rahal performance team started off extremely quick. Unfortunately for them, in race 1, an engine failure meant that they had to abandon the primary vehicle. Luckily for them, Dream Racing really stepped up, and I'm sure Graham Rahal Performance and Jordan Missig very, very thankful, as is Radical, that Dream Racing stepped up, supplied a spare chassis. For Jordan, that meant he went from the left-hand side of the car to the right-hand side. It's taken really a couple of sessions, if you will, to get that car up to speed. No surprise there, but unfortunately they've been during an event and during racing and the heat races. So he's started further back, not what he's used to, quite frankly. He's the reigning outright series champ in the Radical Cup North America Series, as well as the 1500 champion. And so very well versed in Radicals. Actually started his racing career in Radicals out at Autobahn Country Club. Went away, did the Road to Indy, the USF programs, and is just about to embark on a full season of Indy Next. And so this year was a very crucial year for Jordan to put a championship on the resume. And it's nice to see a couple of those shots from the onboard. We're just about to roll off the grid.
And what a story you were saying there as well, how we're rivals on track, we're racing against each other. We are teams competing for one thing and one thing in mind, to be the Radical World Final winner at the end of the day. But after that, in the actual end of the day, we are one big community here for the Gulf Radical Cup and the Radical World Finals, and it's amazing to see how well the teams are working together. Yes, they're rivals on track, but at the same day, they want their rivals to be on track with them. And Tom, you just spotted, I think that was Robert Burgess there, who was not getting off the line there. One of the star Canadians and the only Canadian to win all 3 races.
Well, that's also Jordan Missig, who got stuck behind Robert Burgess, so hopefully those guys will be able to rejoin their position. To be honest, I'm not aware of the regulations over here in terms of that. I know what it would be in America, but I don't want to second guess that here. In any event, Robert Burgess not getting away, and it looks like they are regaining their position, so that's good to see. Obviously, no harm, no foul in effect for Robert Burgess, but I think just the nerves. Obviously, the cars are a bit hotter as well, bit of heat soak on the grid. They've been sitting there for a long time. Everyone having a drink of water, but now it's time to refocus. Think about the plan for the start, the plan for the race. Just really reset. It's never nice to see your fellow drivers have an incident. We're all one big Radical family, and you know, I think everyone is always pleased that these Radical cars with the FIA approved and homologated chassis, very, very nice, strong crash structures around the car, lots of body work, keeps these drivers extremely safe. So that's the good news. But definitely now it's time, with all of that commotion, to set that aside, clear the head and knuckle down. And it looks like 28 minutes will be the race distance.
So we've removed 2 minutes, but it looks like we will restart the race the exact same way we started it, just with a few holes in the grid for the drivers who will not make the restart here. So Osman McAl is going to have to do exactly what he did in the previous start, try and go each and every way. But the good thing is there's a gap somewhere around him that will play into his hands. But now that he's done that, the Pro 1500s know exactly what he's all about, and they're going to be thinking, where is Osman going to be this time?
Well, and also, I hate to say it, but those gaps on the grid tend to invite cars into places sometimes they shouldn't be going. So we'll see how this one is. I'm sure everyone will be a little more tentative. But again, it's winner takes all final. It all comes down to this. Everything's on the wire. You're either hero or you're zero. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some pretty aggressive racing once again. You can see there Greg Gorski just lining up. The pace is ultra slow. I don't know if that's a typical thing here or just the strategy of that's being employed.
Because you saw Alim Gashev was a lot slower compared to Ian Aguilera. Ian is ready to go. Well, when you're that age, you're always ready to go and do something very exciting, and Ian's bouncing around like an Energizer bunny most of the time. He's very quick behind the wheel, but he's even quicker when he's out of the car as well. And you saw him, he was there edging in front of Alim, while Alim was just casually working his way underneath the W Hotel on the restart.
The trouble is, with that jockeying around that Ian's doing, that's really putting Greg Gorski in a tough bind as well. And I think that's why he might be saying, well, look, I'm just going to get out of line a little bit. I'm side by side, but here we go.
And he's done it again.
The World Finals is back underway, and we are green once again at Yas Marina. All the cars, again, side by side, and Gorski's had a big moment, and that's disaster for him. He's gone backwards through the pack, a couple of others running wide, but so far, generally pretty good as they go through a lot of dust where that debris was early on.
And that's a very unfamiliar sight from Greg Gorski. I just think he was too hot there going down towards turn one, and he unsettled the car, which forced him out wide through turn one.
And here we go. Got very, very tight. In fact, there was a big hip and shoulder further back in the pack, and again, cars running off and running wide. Jordan Missig very, very wide there.
Osman McAl knows exactly what's on offer here, and he's not taking any prisoners here, is the Pakistani driver. Here he comes, Greg Gorski's got in front of him, because of course through goes the SR10. But here on the inside is that Jack Yang looking on the inside of Osman McAl. Ian Aguilera is just in front.
Jack Yang got very, very close to having contact there. Other drivers making moves as they head down into the chicane. Well, I guess it is for the second time, but the first time proper, as this race has been restarted after a turn one incident. And it's very, very tight again with the 33 of Jack Yang. There's a big slide just in front, and Yang had to react. You could see him correcting and correcting and correcting once more as we ride on board now, and I believe that's with Rob Greenwood.
And that was Christian Brookes that got a little bit loose there through turn 9. Not exactly what he wanted, but he was on the podium. Once again, although second, he could have walked away with that victory, but that penalty really cost him, and it gave Jack Yang the victory. But you saw Jack Yang played it smart. He knows what's at stake here. He doesn't want to get tangled up with anything like that, especially on the restart here. That's Marcel Kopp, who Sarah had a brief conversation with him before he was dragged away. Great to see him up in the thick of things as well, vying for position here, holding cars back behind him as well. Alim Gashev, Oscar Joyce and Greg Gorski's got back in the third, but behind him, Ian Aguilera and Osman McAl. Well, he's getting quicker and quicker as the race race goes on here. He is now up to 5th position. He's 5.4 seconds back from the race leader, but more importantly, he is about 0.8 of a second back from Ian Aguilera there in the Pro 1500s. Drive-through penalty for car 24, and that is Oscar. No, it's not.
It's Greg Gorski.
It is. Now, what is that penalty for, do you think?
Well, I think he must have got into the back of someone at the start. I'm not sure. Maybe even for the start infringement. You know, you mentioned that you didn't like what you saw. I think race control said the same thing. And the 24 of Greg Gorski, well, that really throws him out of the count in terms of the Platinum class and this World Finals.
There is Osman McAl, the man on a mission. He wants to be on the top step of the podium in Pro 1500. He wants to walk away as a radical World Final winner. He's already done it once yesterday. He'd like to do it again here today in our 4th and final race. And that's very close there between Chris Preen and Suelo Almeida.
Indeed it is, and Suelo Almeida is trying to get through. You can see again he's using all of the track and a little bit more. Crucially, he just had one wheel on the inside white line, so that's a-okay as far as race control is concerned. But this is a fantastic battle as they round the hairpin. We saw Suelo Almeida take a few prisoners to the inside, and he's hasn't done it this time. Chris Preen is just ahead, and look behind. This is a fantastic three-way fight.
It certainly is, and everyone is throwing everything they have at the moment there. That was very close there for Suelo Almeida, but look who's joined them in this little battle here. That's the number 4 that sniffs an opportunity for not one, but 2 positions here, excuse me, to make his way into the top 10, but he has to find a way past Jordan Missig before he does that. Suelo closes the gap once again, and it looks like the Brazilian has been between 2 British drivers. He's got Chris Preen and Andrew Lowe in front and behind him. And what about Osman McAl? How much has he closed the gap up? Well, it's still 0.8 of a second. He's actually lost a little bit of time there to Ian Aguilera. These two know each other well, though. They fought against each other in the Gulf Radical Cup. They're going to fight again in a few weeks' time, but today they're fighting as well for top honours in Pro 1500. Both of them know what's on store here, and both of them want to be the one to walk away with that trophy later on. Jacopo Marchioni, who had issues in race 3, was the one doing battle with Marcel Kopp, because he's moved the 50 up into 20th overall.
Jordan Missig looks like he's cleared Fujinami. Jack Yang will be his next victim, but it's very, very fast at the front of Pro 1500. Sebastian Murray has been quick all weekend long. Christian Brookes as well. There really isn't anyone out of these top 4 or 5 drivers that you wouldn't say are worthy of being a world champion.
I think Osman McAl's got to start to make something happen here. He's got to attack a little bit more, because he has not just Christian Brookes behind him, Sebastian Murray. He's also got Jack Yang and Jordan Missig, who are going to be on the scene soon enough. He's going to want to get this position changed pretty much immediately and let Ian Aguilera deal with him. It's interesting to note through Sector 1 and Sector 2, Osman really starts to close in on Ian Aguilera, but it's Sector 3 where he's losing the most amount of time to the leader in Pro 1500. There's that battle before with Chris Preen, Suelo Almeida and Andrew Lowe. It looks like there's been a bit of a gap between them, about 2 to 3 car lengths separating the two of them in both situations here, but lurking in the background is Rob Greenwood as well in that 47. When he latches on to that battle, it'll be great to have his on board to see how he can do it, especially if he can do it down the back straight away. There is Fujinami, who we just saw come through the final corners. There is the rest of the field, including Ibi Hadid, one of the stars here in the Gulf Radical Cup, did a race in Toronto a couple of months ago, and also gets driver coaching from Suelo Almeida as well.
I just want to point out something. Oscar Joyce has just done a 1:55.1. That was 0.2 faster than Alim Gashev. So could we see a big change up the front? Oscar Joyce hasn't had the pace so far this weekend of Geshev. That might all change now in this final. What can we see from the young gun? He's used to SR1, SR3 machinery. He's stepped up to the SR10 for the first time this weekend, and the Englishman is making a big move.
Osman McAl still 0.8 of a second back from Ian Aguilera, but it's Sector 1 where he closes up on the Mexican in front of him. But again, Christian Brookes is coming, is 0.7 of a second separating those two. There is Ian Aguilera at the bottom of your picture, Osman McAl. Then we've got Christian Brookes, Sebastian Murray and Jack Yang is in close proximity as well. Ibi Hadid under pressure, the Canadian here from Strider. These two know each other very well as well from racing in the Gulf Radical Cup last year. Both rookies, both massively improved over the summer break. And here comes Strider. We saw a completely different Strider in the previous race, and you see him there. He's getting just as aggressive as he was in race 3.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, again, it's winner-takes-all competition. You can see everyone pushing extremely hard. The Hankook rubber still coming up to temperature, I would say. Everyone squirming about a little bit. There's Jordan Missig going through screen. Next up, we have Fujinami, and then it's Chris Preen. So Swelio Almeida in the mix of things as well. And Andy Lowe, not to be counted out just yet. Hopefully we'll see some more onboard action from Rob Greenwood and Chris Preen. They are in the thick of it in the Pro 1500 class.
And it's only 19 of a second separate the two of them. Greg Gorski has got the message and he's come through to do his drive-through penalty. That will drop him behind. Well, Jordan Missig's gone through. Fujinami's gone through. Chris Preen has gone through. So Greg Gorski will come in the mid-pack and he's going to be absolutely furious about that drive-through penalty.
Now, he has the power, certainly, to get back up through, carve his way back up through the Pro 1500 field. But I think that might have taken him out of contention, certainly for the second step of the podium. Alim Gashev has been the star of the show so far in the Platinum class, and he's just sort of answered that question in terms of Oscar Joyce's lap times. He's down to a 1:54.8. So all of a sudden, after perhaps seeing or getting the hurry on from the team, Oscar Joyce had put in a relatively fast lap, and Alim Gashev has said, well, hold my beer. I'll show you what you can really do in one of these SR10 machines.
The 32 of Yahid Kano has moved up into 21st position. Great to see him moving up the order as well from the back of the field. Rick Parish as well, moving up to 24th, making his way past John Hughes. So he's the cork in the bottle now in the Pro 1340. But where is our third Pro 1340?
Well, we lost Sonny Andrews in that turn 1 incident, unfortunately. So I guess technically he's locked in third place in Pro 1340. But what can John Hughes do? He hasn't quite had the pace, the man from the Canada West side of life, compared to his East Coast compatriot in Robert Burgess. Burgess has definitely felt more comfortable coming away and dealing with a new circuit in Yas Marina. But like all of these things, anything can happen in motorsport. And at the moment, Robert Burgess lapping certainly a little bit quicker in the 207s last time by. John Hughes a little bit slower than that at the moment.
Now, wouldn't it be interesting if we had an overall podium here where we'd have two of the Platinums and then we'd have Ian Aguilera up there as well? But we did have that in race number 1 earlier as we catch the battle for the lead here for the Pro 1500. Ian Aguilera in the 17 is your race leader in that category. Osman McAl sits second, Christian Brookes in third, and Sebastian Murray, who has been mighty quick all weekend despite having very limited practice time. A very late call up there. There he is in 4th place in the for Dream Racing as well. Orange on the right-hand side, a bit of a darker with white patches there on the left-hand side. And look at this 4-way battle we have down towards turn 5. Who's going to dare to break the latest to kind of close that gap back up? You see Osman McAl is creeping in, as is Christian Brookes and Seb Murray as well, which is really great to see. If you're watching race number 3 where we had our pit stop feature in the 45 minutes, Seb Murray was doing very, very well, but unfortunately he stalled the car and that's why he tumbled down the order. But he's certainly making up for it here, challenging not for 3rd place, not for 2nd, but the outright victory in Pro 1500.
All of these men have shone at various times during this week of competition. And you can see the effort that's going in. Everyone is pushing these cars. The cars are actually moving around on the surface. Jordan Missig's closing in as well. So Missig has Jack Yang ahead of him. They're not quite onto that top 4 car train, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start closing in, because the leaders are just sort of fighting with each other a little bit. They're in each other's mirrors, and that's never good when you're trying to churn out laps. So we could see a 6-way fight for Pro 1500 shortly.
And this is going to be fantastic because they know what's on the line, right? All 6 drivers know exactly what they want to do here. They've got 15 minutes, or let's be better yet, they've got 16 minutes left on the clock to sort it out. But these are going to be the longest 16 minutes for Ian Aguilera.
I just also wonder what the strategy was with each team and the tyre allocation. Some people may have gone out with new hand-cooked rubber. Dare I say, if you did, that restart was the best thing ever because you got to generate some heat in the tyres and you were allowed probably to just reset the pressures. I guess it was red flag conditions or parc fermé conditions, but the car settled down a little bit. I would say that anyone on new rubber for this race is in the box seat.
So Sarah and I were downstairs. We look on the inside. Comes the 82 of Christian Brookes, and that is contact. And Osman McAl is not going to be happy about that. And he says, "I'll take that back, thank you very much. You're going to have to try to be a bit nicer next time." And did you see Sebastian Murray in the background? He's got a better exit through turn 8. Here he comes around the outside. Better yet, he slots in behind. But here is the battle for second. This allowing Ian Aguilera to escape up the road. Osman McAl and Seb Murray try to go around the outside. We're going to try to go 3 wide. Not quite, Seb Murray. You're too far back to do that. But look, Christian Brookes has got a better run through turn 9, but he has to slot in behind Osman McAl, and Osman is not going to be happy about that, and he's not going to let that go easily either.
You just get the impression that Sebastian Murray is going to capitalise on this melee ahead. Osman McAl very, very defensive. That's allowing Christian Brookes to have a look at a number of times around this circuit, but they're holding each other up. That's giving Sebastian Murray the opportunity to close in. You can see it didn't quite work down into the hairpin. He actually lost time and fell back a little bit. Meanwhile, Ian Aguilera has checked out. This is good news for the number 17 of Ian Aguilera. Whilst they battle behind, the Mexican has grabbed a gap for Raw Motorsports. He's in the box seat now, looking to take a Radical World title home to Mexico. And at the moment, he's found himself with some breathing room.
And this is going to get very interesting. I wonder, though, if there's damage on the left-hand side of Christian Brookes' car and the right-hand side of Osman McAl's. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like any tyre rub either. It was just a short instant between the two of them, but that could have gone all wrong. Now, going back to the tyre compound situation, so Sarah and I were down in the garage earlier today. We were talking to Osman McAl. He said that everyone around him is on fresh tyres, including himself.
Interesting. So, well, that's interesting. So Osman McAl actually chose to go with a slightly worn set.
No, he went for a new set of tyres.
Everyone else.
Apparently the entire field is on a fresh set of tyres.
So everyone has chosen that, hoping that that gives them a little bit extra. I was just looking at the lap times there. Jordan Missig, Jack Yang, lapping quicker at the moment than the 4 drivers in front of him. And so Ian Aguilera, a 1:58.8 last time by. Oh, sorry. So he was all by his lonesome and a little bit quicker. But other than that, Jack Yang, Jordan Missig have the pace to catch up onto this train. And you can see that already Osman McAl has managed to claw his way back onto Ian Aguilera. If these guys would work together a little bit, we could easily see a 4-way fight yet again. And it's going to happen rather quickly, I think.
It certainly will, but the thing is, you said working together. We can work together when the red flag is happening or the race isn't on. When it comes to teams, teams on the track, they're not going to work together. Christian Brookes wants to be the man in front. Sebastian Murray wants to be the man in front. And I'm pretty sure Sebastian Murray thought, oh, it's finally happened. It's my turn to get through now. But then ran wide through turn 9. But, of course, that is the battle for the top step of the podium in 1500. It could have gone all wrong for second, by the way, as they worked their way up through turn 2.
And we just saw a glimpse of Greg Gorski. He had just got past Andy Lowe. So Gorski now back up to 12th position. This is going to be a big charge through the field as we see the 48 of Missig try and get back onto the gearbox of Jack Yang. Of course, both drivers race in the Radical Cup North America Series. Jack Yang also racing in the Haggerty Radical Cup UK Series as well as the Gulf Cup. So Jack Yang gets around when it comes to Radical racing. And here we go, another attack, or certainly a look to the inside and then the outside.
of Osman McAl there from Christian Brookes. Now, going back to the Haggerty Radical Championship in the United Kingdom, Osman McAl also did one round at Silverstone with them last year because of his efforts in the Gulf Radical Cup, placing second and, of course, being the national champion. So he knows exactly what Jack Yang's all about. Who's a bit further back from him at the moment. Like to see what's happening in front here, though, because we have that battle going through turn 9 once again with those 3 cars. Osman McAl, Christian Brookes, and, of course, Sebastian Murray lurking in the background.
Race control just noting that contact between Christian Brookes and Osman McAl as, again, this battle starts to heat up. Christian Brookes looking to the inside. He's defending now from Sebastian Murray.
And I've got to say, for Sebastian Murray, this has been a mega weekend for him. He didn't have the greatest first race, but race 2, 3, and now race 4, he's certainly challenging here for the top step of the podium. He is throwing everything he can possibly at this, and he's really taking the fight here to Christian Brookes. It's interesting that it's noted because the 47 car is being warned about track limits. The 47 car is a little bit further down on our timing screens here. That's Rob Greenwood, who we can ride on board with. 10 minutes to go on the clock, though. Tom, who do you think is going to be on the top step of the podium Pro 1500, or do you think it's going to take us 10 minutes to sort it out?
Well, I definitely think it's going to take us 10 minutes to sort out the minor placings, if you will. Ian Aguilera has certainly got the breathing room now. I think he would just be trying to remain calm. The trouble is he can't afford to run slowly. He's got to put in the lap times because the guys behind him, the likes of Osman McAl, Christian Brookes, Sebastian Murray, for that matter, Jack Yang and Jordan Missig, they're pushing extremely hard, and we can see how hard they're pushing each other. Now, that's Greg Gorski looking to claim another victim, if you will, in Chris Preen. Fujinami is just ahead of them. So that's the pack that is behind Jordan Missig, Jack Yang, and then our front runners in Pro 1500. So, as we expected, you know, Greg Gorski is coming back up through the field. Whether he will ever get to Oscar Joyce with 8 minutes and 55 seconds remaining, who knows?
I did like the little hand gesture there from the driver to say, hey, hello, I'm also coming through here. Don't push me off track, will you? Going through the corner. That's Christian Brookes on the inside through turn 9. Osman McAl hang out to try on the outside, but he's going to fight it. Seb Murray says, oh, I'm going to try and get both of you here as McAl is offline. Christian Brookes can try around the outside, and Seb Murray, he's getting the thick of things. He doesn't have to be this close. He needs to wait for these two to do something, and it might happen here. But this is getting exciting here. The second step of the podium. Osman McAl has just lost it, not 1 position, but 2 places.
But very clean move and very smart driving for Sebastian Murray. You could see him just hesitate off the throttle a little bit, let these guys in front sort themselves out. He wasn't prepared to get involved in what could have been their accident, and all of a sudden, Christian Brookes, and I can actually hear some crowd screaming. They're delighted in Sebastian Murray and Christian Brookes eclipsing Osman McAl. That's a big change in the order behind Ian Aguilera. The top 3 for Pro 1500 has changed dramatically, and just based on the aggression, the lap times, and how much Osman McAl has defended, I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Yang and Jordan Missig start clawing their way onto the back of that green car pretty soon. It just seemed to me like they may, or now that Christian Brookes and Sebastian Murray have been released, if you will we see them claw their way up to Ian Aguilera?
And I think Seb Murray was being a bit cheeky there on the start-finish line as well, flashing the headlights, telling Christian Brookes, I'm quicker, let me through. But I don't think Christian is having any of that. At the line, he was the race winner, but he ended up being second on the podium. This is now the battle for second. Osman McAl has dropped back. I do wonder, though, does Osman McAl have a problem with that contact? Christian Brookes still seems to be up to speed, but it looks like Osman McAl is losing time. That's the 111. That is Lee Jackson. In front of him is the 50 car.
Jacopo Fascioni, and yeah, they're having a good battle themselves out there. So would you believe that's down in 19th and 20th position. And already, again, that's 3 wide. That's Suelio Almeida. That's Preen in the middle. And Fujinami.
and that was before we got to turn 9 as well. That was through turn 8. A very different situation if we were going 3 wide through here, as they're trying to do now. Very similar to what we saw Christian Brookes and Osman McAl do there through that corner.
Andy Lowe might be able to capitalise on this commotion as well, and a big lunge. We know that Suelio Almeida is good under brakes. It wasn't to be that time by, but you can see again how hard these guys are pushing. Now Fujinami has an opportunity to get past the Brazilian.
Great fight here for positions further through the field as well. It's not just for the top step of the podium, it's also further down. Suelio Almeida here trying to take that position back, but Chris Preen has got a mega exit through there, and he's now escaping up the road saying, you know what, you deal with Fujinami, you deal with the hard-charging Andrew Lowe as well. I don't want anything to do with this. Oh! And that's contact between Osman McAl and Rick Parish there in the background as well. Very unfortunate there.
Teammates make contact, an absolute disaster. Jordan Missig got through that, so did Jack Yang. I think Jordan Missig might indeed be up ahead. So could that mean that Jordan Missig is now 3rd in class? I'm not sure if Jack Yang was just ahead of them or not.
Christian Brookes is there. That is that's the Kenny Murray's his father, isn't it? That's Seb Murray's car there.
So that's Seb Murray, the other Dream Racing car, and of course that's got the sister livery to Jordan Missig's car.
And that's just how much pressure is on you here in the Radical World Finals. You are trying to fight tooth and nail to be the one to walk away victorious, and all it takes is 1 split second. And unfortunately, the safety car has come out. Well spotted, Tom.
Now, so this changes the whole race, the complexity, every piece of hard work that Alim Gashev has done, all the hard work that Ian Aguilera has done gets thrown out the window right now. They're going to be line astern. This could be a green-white checker. This could be an amazing end to what has been a huge week of Radical Racing. Everyone's efforts could come down to 1 or 2 laps under green if we can get this going quickly.
And that's Osman McAl who's got going again, but that's a very unfortunate situation for him. He's just in front of Yahid Khadim here in the 20th. Rick Parish is still stationary at the moment. The safety car is still circulating. There is Ian Aguilera, the leader. Now, I would say he hasn't got any pressure, but now if we go green flag racing again and the restart kicks off, he is going to be under a lot of pressure because he's not got one car that's going to be charging for him. We already know how quick Seb Murray has been, and he is only 1 car away from Ian Aguilera. For Ian, he's going to want this safety car to be as long as humanly possible. He wants his safety car to be 3 minutes and 30 seconds exactly as we count down. But for Seb Murray and Christian Brookes, they want that Camaro to go off the track now, and they want to win this race.
Well, I want it to go off the track too. I'd love to see this come down to the wire. The other one to look out for on this restart, Jordan Missig, is 1 step away from a podium position. You can see the dejection from Jack Yang, so that's what happened to Jack. He was caught up in that. I couldn't quite see it from that original shot of the incident. A dejected Jack Yang. He was sitting 4th in class when all of that occurred. And so the Camaro safety car is out. We haven't seen any notifications from race control just yet.
Let's keep an eye on those lights on the safety car. They might go out, and if you're going out, we're going to have 2 laps to go, and it's going to be a mega shootout here for the top step of the podium, because also what's happened here, the safety car has neutralized the field. Oscar Joyce is back now on the back bumper of Alim Gashev. So we're not just going to have a title fight for Pro 1500, we're going to have a title fight for Platinum, Pro 1500 and Pro 1340.
Absolutely, 3 classes, and it's all come down to 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Will the safety car come in? That's the big question. Greg Gorski's also in the thick of things. There's some battles raging everywhere else in the field as well. We saw ultra-competitive Chris Preen just start to check out there on Suelio Almeida. Fujinami in there as well. Andy Lowe looking particularly racing. Rob Greenwood's caught up. Everyone, of course, is caught up now under this safety car conditions.
And the safety car lights have not gone off. We are halfway around the racetrack. we might end this car behind. We might end this race. We might end the Radical World Finals behind a safety car.
I really hope we can get this going again. It would sort of only be right to all the drivers and crews. Of course, Alim Gashev, Ian Aguilera would like it to stay yellow. I understand.
Burgess as well would be Robert Burgess, excuse me, would be very happy about this. But yes, the safety car is still circulating. 1:10 left on the clock, Tom. We're not going to get another lap in here, unfortunately. It looks like we'll be ending the race behind the safety car. Unless the safety car can break some rules here, go 200 kilometers an hour around the track, get the round before the 56 seconds are up. But there are rules are in place, and there are reasons those rules are in place to ensure the safety of the track marshals and the workers that are currently on the track to ensure the debris is clean. So, of course, as much as we like that to happen, it won't.
No, it won't. But what a week this has been. I mean, just absolute hats off to Alim Gashev, an absolute superstar stepping up to the SR10 machinery. He has done the job at every step of this competition. Qualified on the pole, 3 race wins in the heats, a perfect point score, and put it all together in this final. Survived turn 1 as well. I've got to say, Oscar Joyce, tremendous performance from that young man as well. Robert Burgess, we can see there on screen, he's taken a clean sweep in Pro 1340. So that's been a big weekend of motorsport for the Canadian.
And what a position to do it in as well. He's just 2 places behind the race leader. We see Alim Gashev, Oscar Joyce, and there is Robert Burgess, the leader in 1340, which is great for him being up there. Ian Aguilera a little bit further back, but of course not the way we would have liked to end the Radical World Finals. We didn't have safety cars at all in the past few races here. Unfortunately, we will end the World Finals with one, but nonetheless, it's been an absolutely incredible event here, and we can't wait to do it again.
You know what I always love in these circumstances? The clock has wound down to 0. I'm sure most drivers already understand this. You've got guys still weaving their tyres. They're hoping, like anything, that somehow magically they're going to go racing again.
They all need that little white timer that Greenwood has in his car that they can fit in there to have the exact time.
But I got to say just quickly, and I know that the safety car is going to come through, unless there's some ridiculous circumstance, the other person that just deserves huge accolades, and there's the 91 stopped on the side of the circuit.
That is Seb Murray, and that is heartbreaking for Seb Murray.
So I said ridiculous circumstances. The race isn't over until it's over, and under a full course caution, Seb Murray is going to trickle down the order. Now that could promote, well, that will promote Jordan Missig to 3rd spot.
And he'll be absolutely delighted with that after the way the race weekend started for him. As you said, safety cars, sometimes the most bizarre things happen. Seb Murray unfortunately stopped there on turn 5 and 6. So even if we were to go green flag racing again, we wouldn't have done it because we would have stayed behind the safety car unless Seb Murray got going again. Very, very unfortunate for him. But with that said, he has had a phenomenal race weekend here. He was a last-minute addition, and he's done nothing but impress everybody here in the paddock area. Seb Murray has been extremely quick out the box, and so is this man here in a brand new car for this weekend. He doesn't usually race the SR10, and he's going to make it 4 for 4. Alim Gashev makes his way across the line. There is the checkered flag, and he is a Radical World Final winner. So is Ian Aguilera, so is Robert Burgess as well. What a way to end the weekend. What a way to end the Radical World Finals. Pumping the air with a fist pump, Alim Gashev. He knows what he's done. He's going to have so much confidence in the Gulf Radical Cup in a few weeks' time when he races here again in Dubai. He is going to be so exciting. Excited, excuse me.
Well, I'm excited too. What an amazing weekend for that man. Ian Aguilera, as you mentioned, tremendous job by him. Christian Brookes came through in the end. A fair bit to contend with for him as well this weekend. Jordan Missig making the most out of a miserable start. Impressive. He's ended up on the podium. Greg Gorski recovering from that drive-through penalty. He'll take 3rd in the Platinum class. fantastic effort from Chris Preen, Swelio, Almeida, Fujinami, Andy Lowe, Rob Greenwood, of course Robert Burgess taking the win in Pro 1340, and John Hughes second in class as well. Well, after a big week of racing, a turn 1 incident meant the event was red flagged. The World Finals race reduced to a 28-minute sprint from the typical, or what was scheduled, 30 minutes because of that early red flag. Some fantastic racing, definitely elbows out, bit of side-to-side contact, and very aggressive stuff, particularly from the Pro 1500 class, which saw over 20 competitors out on track this week. And all of that has culminated into some great racing here at Yas Marina. Again, a local superstar, Alim Gashev, taking the win in the Platinum class. Ian Aguilera, the Mexican, bringing home a tremendous World Finals trophy, pending any dramas in the technical side of life. Of course, all these cars have to go through Parc Ferme and scales and technical checks for compliance. So all of these results provisional, but we will be celebrating the winners as they come off the track. The banquet tonight will be a fantastic affair, just right there on the top of the W Hotel. And really wonderful that we can celebrate everyone's success here this week with a big awards banquet. And Ian Aguilera comes down into the pit lane. He is a world champion in Pro 1500. So Alim Gashev will go to where he's been every single race this week, in front of the #1 placard. The 77 claps his hands and pumps his fist. He is a radical world champion. Congratulations, Alim Gashev. Fantastic result too, Oscar Joyce, second in the world. And the 17 of Ian Aguilera, also a world champion, third outright, as Alim Gashev celebrates here. And a big holding up the sign for Graham Rahal Performance. We could just see P3 for the 48 of Jordan Missig. Oscar Joyce talking to DW Racing team owner Darren Winter, and we will head down, if we can, to Chris Milburn, who's down in Parc Ferme.
Yes, thank you so much, Tom. See there, Alim Gashev very excited there, but before we speak to anybody, I've got Rob from Raw Motorsports. You've just won with Ian Aguilera, the Pro 1500 class. You guys are excited. Ian's happy about that as well. Talk us through it.
It was probably the most nervous half an hour of my life. It was a great race to watch, but I didn't really watch an awful lot of it, to be fair. But yeah, no, it's just fantastic to bring the result back. He's been brilliant all weekend, and it's just desserts really for him and the team.
Well, it's probably a good thing that you didn't watch half of the race, because the battle that Ian Aguilera had with Osman McAl, Christian Brookes, and the rest of the field, and Seb Murray, who unfortunately had that problem at the end there, it's probably a good thing you didn't watch it, because your heart would have been somewhere else.
To be honest, my heart was going through the roof as it was. So, no, it's just a fantastic result for the team, and Ian deserves this.
Yeah, 100%. I can see Ian's over there, but Alim Gashev is getting ready over here as well. And what I'll do is I'll hand the microphone over to Sarah for this, because Alim Gashev is preparing himself. The helmet's coming off. I'm quite sure he's had a quick chat with the family as well. But what an incredible sight here. 32 radicals. The Radical World Finals right here at the Yas Marina circuit. It's been absolutely amazing. Actually, while Ian Aguilera, okay, he's actually going in for the mandatory weigh in there. But let me just hand the microphone over here to Sarah, who will be talking to Alim Gashev.
Alim, what a weekend. Your son told you yesterday, go out and get some more trophies, and I hear that you keep them in his bedroom, which is very, very sweet. Can you tell us about your weekend as a whole? It's just been a dream.
First of all, I make a promise, and we did it. And the second, yeah, the weekend was awesome. The weekend was amazing. The car was awesome. The team prepared the car. They gave everything to it. And my coaches, my engineer, we did a great job. It's sad to lose some cars on the grid, but I hope everyone is fine, not injured. I'm happy. We dominated all weekend, all quali, all races, best laps, and how can I be? I'm more than happy. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, it has been an incredible weekend. We didn't know that it was going to finish under a safety car. You know, there was a chance there that it was going to restart. What were your thoughts when obviously it equalizes the field?
Yeah, actually, you know, as a race driver, you always want to race. You don't want safety cars. That's why there was a hope that we can restart at least at one lap. And of course, it's fun. And second, the guy on the back, they can have a chance. I think always finishing in racing is better than after a safety car.
Yeah. Well, it's been an incredible weekend as a whole, and we hope to see you back here at Yas Marina very, very soon.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Well, there we are. A fantastic result, and great to hear from a world champion in Alim Gashev.
I've got Ian Aguilera here as well.
So we'll just head down once again to Chris Milbourne and Sarah Esser, because I think we're going to hear from the winner of Pro 1500, Ian Aguilera.
And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get interviews with as many people as possible, including the winners. And the Pro 1500 winner, Ian Aguilera, everything was happening behind you. You kept it so cool, though. Congratulations. You are a winner of the Radical World Finals.
Yeah, I am. I'm very happy. It was a tough race, a lot of pressure from behind from all three drivers. But luckily, they all started fighting, so I managed to get a gap and just maintain the gap. So very happy with the result, but yeah.
Well done. I see you told me at the beginning it was been a hard race weekend, but you just told me as well this was a little harder.
Yeah, I think this was the toughest race out of this weekend. I mean, had three cars chasing me, and it looked like they were catching, but then luckily they started fighting. But at the end, we got the result, so couldn't ask for more.
So we were taking the team before we spoke to you as well, by the way. They didn't watch the race, or at least they didn't watch you doing your battle there. I think if they did, they might have been jumping up in joy to see you not being part of what happened behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no words, really.
Well, the good thing is that you were out of it. Congratulations, Ian. Well done, a job well done. You've been quick throughout the weekend. Rick Parish. It is. Well, it happened there at the end, but you know what? You've got a smile on your face. You're happy from Relentless Racing. Unfortunate what happened, but still a fantastic weekend, and a fantastic weekend for Kinetic 7 as well.
Yeah, amazing. You know, first two qualies, got through those, went through every heat and got to the final, and then had a nasty accident. So that was the end of that. But it was a great weekend. I mean, fantastic for Radical, fantastic for the series, and this is the start of the year, so I can't wait to get into it.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of you, because every time I see Osman racing here in the Gulf Radical Cup, I see your name on the side every time. I'd always ask, where's Rick? Why is Rick not here? Why is not Rick racing with us?
Rick's got a hydrogen business called Kinetic 7 that's going bananas, so I do a lot of travel. So, yeah, but this year I'm going to try and get it for most of the season.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Rick, for talking to us. I think now, like we said, we're trying to get as many interviews as possible here. Jordan Missig, I don't think you imagined you being on the podium at all there at the end, but you got it because Seb Murray had the problem. But what a fight you guys were having there at the end.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a competitive race by everybody. You know, obviously, this is the best of the world that's here at Radical that are racing this weekend. So hats off to everybody that was out here today. We put up a fight. But, yeah, unfortunately, what happened to Seb there at the end, you know, I feel for him, you know, everything that's happened. But, you know, I can't thank the Grand Prix Hall Performance performance guys enough. We worked hard every day, you know, to get this car back together. And, you know, we had a huge problem at the beginning of the whole test. We had to lose a car and go to a new chassis. So to jump in a new car and everything, it just proves the point that what these Grand Marais Hall performance guys have. And I got to make a special shout out to Grand Marais Hall himself. You know, if it wasn't for him, you know, this weekend would not have been possible. I wouldn't be standing here right now.
Well, you've got a very exciting career path ahead of you. Or moving off into Indy next and everything like that. Are we going to see more of you in Radical Racing?
You know, I definitely, my heart and soul is always here with Radical. It's where I got my start and everything, and I always love coming back to this car especially. You know, these guys, they love me, and I love them as much as I can. So definitely probably see me back in the Radical here soon. Don't know what it's going to be, but for sure get to see me in the Radical and mix with my Indy next year.
Well, congratulations, a well-deserved podium. Let's now bring in Robert Burgess. It's been a great race. You've made it 3 for 3 here. Well done. And for the Canadians watching at home, he's done it. He's brought the trophy home.
Yeah, this has been an incredible event. I mean, just fantastic. Can't thank everyone at Radical enough. Can't thank my crew, all the sponsors back home, all my supporters. It's just been amazing. The entire event and then the on-track action, just I couldn't ask for anything more.
It's a bit unfortunate what happened in the class as well. You're down to 2 cars at the end. But, of course, the whole weekend, you've been the man to dominate the entire field. What's next now for Robert?
Well, I'll be back racing in Radical Canada Cup again next season. I'll probably do select rounds of Radical Cup North America, Sebring being the first round in March. And I finished second in the Masters Class Championship in Canada this year, so I'm hoping to come back and try to win that.
Well, all the best. Good luck, and we'll see you up there on the podium. Well done for another victory. Before we go to check out some highlights, why don't we have a quick chat with Oscar Joyce. The safety car came out at the end. It was a blessing in disguise, but unfortunately, the timer, the countdown, the clock was not on your side.
Yeah, I was really hoping it would be a last one-lap shootout. I mean, I'd saved my tyre, but I think fair play to Alim. He kept. I tried to keep him on his toes, but he just had that little bit more pace than me and pulled away. But no, I really enjoyed it. It's been a great weekend. I think, considering I'd never driven the car up until Thursday, topping and slowly each session make a progression was really good fun. And yeah, just really enjoyed it. And yeah.
What do you mean you've never driven the car before? How did you just jump in and do that?
Don't know, just big balls, I guess.
What a way, Oscar Joyce. Congratulations on another well-deserved podium. We do have one more interview here. We're going to get Osman McAl. Osman, that was heartbreaking. My favourite, my all-time favourite. We always chat every time we have a race here at the Marina circuit out of Dubai, but that was it.
Yeah, well, congratulations to Ian. He done really well, yeah, it just wasn't our day today. We had the pace and it was looking very competitive, but yeah, just unfortunately got taken out at the end. So, well, can't really say much else.
Well, I've got to say that battle between you, Christian Brookes, Seb Murray, and then there was another driver involved with it. Jordan Missig as well was a part of it. There was a 4-way battle for the second step of the podium. What you should have done is work together and try and chase down Ian Aguilera. But that was a fabulous fight between the 4 of you.
Yeah, I didn't think they wanted to work together. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well done for this. It's a great overall confidence boost for you, winning the first heat race, and of course back to Golf Radical Cup soon enough.
Yeah, and that's it. We'll trade punches with Ian Aguilera again.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we'll see you later on. Now let's grab Chris Preen. Chris Preen was making some very interesting moves now from Chris to Chris here. It's great to watch you. You've made the name Chris proud. I'm glad to be speaking to you here, but that was some great racing, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you. It was close racing. What a fantastic event. And yeah, it was obviously it was close with the 2 other cars coming up that straight, tapping away. But I guess that's what racing's all about.
But you were trying to go 3 wide through turn 8, if I'm not mistaken. That was quite interesting because you were right in the middle of everything there. What was going through your thought process there?
I was waiting for the tap on the back to get knocked out, but I just thought I'll just hold it and see if they can keep it clean, which they did. So full respect to the guys. You know, congratulations as well to Ian Aguilera. Christian Brookes, he did a fantastic job as well.
Well, thank you, Chris, for talking to us, and a good job there. Job well done there. The Radical World Finals. We still have interviews to go down here because now we've got Brazilian sensation Suele Almeida. You've raced in the Golf Radical Cup. You know these guys very well. You know Ibi Hadid very well as well. You've raced him. You've done some driver coaching. But this time it was all about you, and what a race you put on.
Yeah, no, it was it's always like a dream. Like you're driving on the straights and you're just realizing, looking up, that you're in the Marina circuit and that Formula 1 drivers will be racing here in a couple of weeks. So it was amazing. It was fun. It was intense. a little bit crazy with the red flags on the last one, but I'm glad that I survived all the starts. And we had some very intense battles. I was still struggling a lot with top speed, so I have to be very aggressive on the corners the whole weekend. We tried to find speed, we tried wing, we tried everything, and it didn't work. I was just like just had some bad luck with the engine, but I'm very, very satisfied with my own performance, and I was able to get a P6 right now with such a competitive grid, so that was great. It was great.
So I assume you probably raced the Marina circuit online. What's the difference between racing it on a PC or a console than it is to racing it in real life?
The neck. You really have to. There's a lot of grip. The track is so good. The car is so good, so fast. So like the enduro especially, it was very tough. I was feeling like burning, and I was trying to rest and everything, be efficient in it. It's very physical. It's very intense. You have to be an actual athlete to survive these races.
Well, thank you, Elios, for talking to us. Good race there. That was a fantastic one. We still have more interviews, by the way. We've still got more drivers. Let's bring in Andrew Lowe. Andrew, what a race there. That was fantastic. You were with us a couple of weeks ago in the Gulf Radical Cup. Here you are at the Radical World Finals. You got a smile on your face.
Yeah, big time. How can you not come out of these cars and have a smile on your face? So much fun to drive. Yeah, it's been a building week. First round of Dubai, getting used to the car, a new track to learn, and then come here. We had a Thursday test and then Thursday, Friday test. Again, getting better into the car and the track. An amazing circuit, great venue.
Well, you've adapted to the heat pretty well. A lot of drivers have been complaining it's quite hot out here. Obviously, in the UK, it's a lot colder. I've been here for 30 years, so I'm used to this 50-degree heat. But how was it earlier this morning? Because it was a lot warmer than it was in this second race.
Yeah, the race this morning, I know temperatures were up on the tyres and everything. Noticed the car a lot lighter, not just on the front but all four. A lot of four-wheel slide in the first race. I come back to the mechanics and said, look, what you done on the car setup-wise? Said just the pressures are up, the heater made a difference. So you had to be a little bit more managing the tyres and be careful not sliding off on corners and watch track limits.
Yeah, that was a great race from you as well. I know you were lurking behind a few battles that were happening in front of you, and you just biding your time. You're waiting for something to happen in front, and you stayed away from it. But at the same time, you're like, no, I could be a part of this.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate. The accidents was on the back straights, then to turn 5, but brought the yellows out in the safety car. Up to that, I was like half a second quicker, catching every lap, and I could see the difference. I found half a second in those 3 or 4 laps before the safety car. Saw it on my dash where I was, and then pulling them in. I thought, well, yeah, I could perhaps another place or two, but yeah, and the safety car comes out, and that's where we finish. So.
Well, thank you so much, August Andrew. That was a great race. We hope to see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, do you not want to have any last thoughts here together? I mean, you've done a great job. We've both been down here trying our best to find drivers to talk to, but what an incredible race it's been.
Oh, it's been an awesome weekend, and the racing was incredible. Despite the finish, I think the racing that we saw throughout the race through all of the classes was really, really cool, and what an event to bring 32 drivers to Yas Marina to close out the World Finals.
Yeah, it's been an incredible evening here, and of course, well, the podium presentation is round the corner. So are the highlights for the 4th heat race here, and actually the final here for the Radical World Finals. It's been a great day of racing here. For now, then, I think we can hand it back up to Tom briefly. No, Tom is up there waiting for the podium. So why don't we check out some highlights now from race 4 of the Radical World Finals.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the podium for the final time during the 2024 Radical World Finals presented by Kinetic 7. And whilst we'll be celebrating this evening and unveiling the special Radical World Finals trophies, it's time to bring up the victors as they cross the line. And before there might be any other adjudication to deal with, it's time to celebrate. We'll start with Pro 1340, and to help award the drivers and give them a couple of bottles of bubbly to celebrate, Julio Rizzo from Hankook. In third place, a Canadian from the West Coast. Congratulations, Sonny Andrews. In second place, John Hughes came home with the silverware today. Congratulations, John.
Next time.
And taking the win, it was 4 wins from 4 starts. Congratulations, our world champion in Pro 1340 for Radical Canada East, Robert Burgess. And Robert Burgess, certainly no stranger to Radical Racing. He himself has developed Radical Racing throughout Canada. Robert Burgess crowned the world champion here at Yas Marina. Sonny Andrews just still getting checked out, but he is A-OK. We'll celebrate with him later, but for now, John Hughes and Robert Burgess celebrating on the podium. Got to find out what's inside those bottles. It's certainly not champagne here. But the smiles are big. The celebrations are going to be bigger tonight. John Hughes, AKA Daddy Chill, Robert Burgess, walking back from the podium after celebrating here at Yas Marina. To present the Pro 1500 drivers with their bubbly, Barry Hope from GulfSport, and thank you to GulfSport for all their efforts this weekend putting on their this event. An amazing performance to come home with some silverware. Congratulations, home third for Graham Rahal Performance, all the way from Indianapolis and indeed Chicago in terms of the driver. Jordan Missig, home third on the podium. In second place, he was a superstar this weekend. Congratulations, Christian Brookes. Valor Racing on the podium. And taking the win in Pro 1500, the Mexican driver, Raw Motorsports, it's Ian Aguilera. No doubt, a few young guns to keep an eye on for the future. Ian Aguilera, first place. Christian Brookes, second. Jordan Missig, third. The bubbly has come in. Gentlemen, it's time to celebrate on the podium here at Yas Marina. Ian Aguilera, you are a world champion. Congratulations, gentlemen. And to help present the winners in the Platinum class, once again, we're joined by Kinetic 7's Sonny Jensen Landeros. In third place, he came back after a dubious start, certainly in terms of race control. He had a drive-through, came home with third place. Congratulations, America's Greg Gorski. In second place, he's been fast all week long. Another young gun. Congratulations, Oscar Joyce. DW Racing, second place. And taking the win for TTR, a hometown hero from the United Arab Emirates. Please welcome the world champion in platinum, Alim Gashev. Alim, we're going to get a couple more words from you as you walk up here in front of the home crowd. You are a world champion at the hometown hero.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Great job, man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give these guys one more big round of applause. Of course, it's not just first, second, and third. Alim Gashev, a radical world champion. And what a week it's been for these gentlemen, all the drivers indeed. 32 drivers taking part.
Where am I looking? Oh, there.
A number of nations, so many trials and tribulations, and to the victors go the spoils. And a hometown hero taking a world championship on home turf. There is nothing better than that. That has been the Radical World Finals for 2024, powered by Kinetic 7. What a weekend of action. Of course, there's plenty more action to come when it comes to the Gulf Radical Cup. All of the Radical racing around the world will start to commence for next year. We'll hope to see you back at a Radical World Finals next year. But until then, that's a wrap from Marina and the Radical World Finals, powered by Kinetic 7.